Sorry about that, guys, but I'm just gonna continue explaining the hybrid strategy. I was kind of right in the middle of talking about that when everything crashed. So um, basically, I was just saying if you're at the 101 and you're trading back, say to the 108, we're sticking with that same example. And this time, instead of asking for a 2025 first for the trade back, this time you're going to say, hey, well, can I get your first and third for my first and fifth? Right. And you're going to get some better starting caliber players, some more young core pieces to build around. And you are going to try to give yourself a shot to win this year while still kind of building that strong young core. And you might take some older players in the later rounds to kind of fill out your starting roster. So the downside to this strategy is that you could get stuck in the middle, right? So in Dynasty, you either want to be contending for that championship or contending for that number one pick. But you don't want to be like, okay, I just barely made the playoffs and got waxed in the first round and had no shot because this other team was way better than mine. You also don't want to be like, okay, I just barely missed the playoffs. And so I'm picking sixth or seventh. And you could get a good player in the sixth or seventh, but you might not get that franchise altering type of player. And you're also not competing for a championship. So, especially if your league isn't super active with lots of trading, you could get stuck in that cycle of mediocrity. And as an NC State fan, I know what that's like. We have been mired in mediocrity, not terrible and not great for as long as I can remember. Although this Final Four run, how about that, baby?
Not on your college football video game, though, baby.
Hey, CFB 25, NC State. It's a powerhouse, man. Back-to-back natties, competing for the third, undefeated. Let's go. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So the pros is this strategy, it gives you a lot of flexibility. You get into year one, things aren't going well, you get some injuries. Well, great. We still got a good young core. We'll sell off a couple of these older guys. We'll reload for next year. But if you get into it and some of your younger players have had breakout seasons and things are going better than expected, and you're like, hey, I've got a real shot to compete for this thing, you could spend some future draft capital to add a couple pieces, get you over the top. And so it kind of gives you the flexibility in season to go either way. So that's kind of the hybrid strategy. What do you think, Jackson?
Yeah, I would say this is definitely the hardest of the three strategies to pull off, right? Because you could get stuck in this strategy more than any of the other two strategies. This strategy almost entirely, to me, depends on your ability to hit pretty consistently in your drafts, whether that be in your startup draft or in your rookie draft, and hit on guys that can produce at the next level. Because if you're missing in your rookie drafts, and if you miss on some of these guys that, hey, they were supposed to break out, but they didn't really break out, that's how you end up in the middle. So it's definitely the hardest strategy to do, but it can also be the most lucrative, or one of the most lucrative, because you can go either direction, and it can be pretty easy to go either direction.
Yep, that's right. So I'll give an example here. So again, let's say you're picking in the 50s range at this time. So we'll go a little lower down in the draft. And at 53, you got Travis Kelce. Now that guy could win you the league. 55, you got Isaiah Pacheco. That guy should be really productive, but maybe just for a short 1 to 2 year window. If you hold all the way to 57, Drake May. He would be a great year one punt because he might not even start the season as the starter. The situation around him is terrible. He's probably not going to help you win a league in the first year, but he could be a core piece to your team. Right sandwiched in the middle of all those would be the perfect hybrid player in Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers is a really talented young player that last year might have been a good first year punt because he wasn't crazy. I mean, he had a good end of the year, but I think he finished as a low end wide receiver 2. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but a lot of people think, man, he's got a chance to really break out this year because he came on strong to end the season. He's the clear number 1 guy coming into year 2. There's some development. So a hybrid would probably take Zay Flowers there. And if Zay Flowers has that breakout season that a lot of people think that he could have, you're in great shape. Your hybrid strategy is kind of paying off for you. But if he doesn't, you just spent a pretty high pick where you could have gotten some other really good pieces for your team
Mhm.
on a guy that's just a guy, just a low end wide receiver too. So you're really like with the hybrid strategy, you're kind of shooting for the middle and hoping that you get it right. And if not, then your team's going to be pretty mediocre. Like you're not going to be as bad as if you'd taken Drake May, but you're not going to be as good as if you'd taken Travis Kelce. And that's what the hybrid strategy is.
Yeah, it's kind of what you said, right? It's the worst place to be. You want to be competing for a championship, or you want to be competing for the number one pick. So it's the most dangerous from that aspect, but it's also a well-versed strategy that could pay dividends for you if you can hit on those picks for sure.
That's right. So let me just get your take, Jackson. I know we want to stay flexible, go as the board presents us, but in an ideal world, like what is your favorite of these strategies? What is your kind of default go-to if everything goes as planned? From these three, which is your favorite strategy in a startup?
Yeah, for sure. If I'm having to pick one and everything's going the way I want it to, I'm a productive struggle guy all the way. I am fine punting year one. I'm fine not bringing home any money the first year for the chance to build a true dynasty that can compete for the next 5 years. I also am a rookie like nerd. We all know that on the show. We like to scout the rookies. We like to do all that film grinding.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I feel the most comfortable, because I feel really comfortable in my ability to scout a player and predict future success, which makes this strategy a whole lot easier for me. What about you though?
Yeah, I probably lean towards the hybrid, honestly. Or the first year punt. I don't think I've ever gone fully into like, all right, I'm drafting all the old guys. I just there's something about driving that used car off the lot, knowing that you just lost half your value, that I
Yeah,
just can't stomach it. And yeah, so
I get that though, right? Because you only, for all intents and purposes, you only draft your team one time, and then
yep,
that's the team. That's the team, and dynasty, that's the
you're
team that you
stuck with
mark
it.
with.
And if you
So
put yourself in a hole, yeah, because it's like, man, if I don't win that championship the first year or the first 2 years, and then all these guys start aging out, and I can't flip them for future draft picks. So now I'm looking at a like multi-year rebuild. I
yeah,
can't turn it around quick. And so, yeah, that's probably the strategy that I like the least.
yeah,
Um, and I also, though, I don't find myself like when I trade down, it's more that my first and fifth for your first and third. I'm not asking for like future rookie picks as much.
yeah,
And I do tend like I'm gonna try to mostly take dynasty players 26 or younger that I feel good about their future. And I like the Zay Flowers breakout and kind of believe in my ability to hit on those guys. So that's probably been my go-to. But the productive struggle, I would definitely prefer over the contender strategy
yeah.
for sure. So that's going to about do it for tonight. Jackson, where can the people find you on social media?
Yep, you guys can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at DevyMatt. Make sure you guys like and comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and leave a comment on the Apple Podcasts and Spotify and everywhere that we're at there as well.
Yeah, for sure. So whatever platform you're using, we appreciate the love. It helps people find us. Leave us a good review. Give us some engagement. You can find me on Twitter/X at CouchScoutsFF. And you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@CouchScouts. And don't forget to check out the free Discord in the show notes and be on the lookout for that website coming soon. So we appreciate you guys listening or watching, and we'll see you next week. Peace.